What's happening, everybody, and welcome back to the True Gamer Podcast, a podcast hosted by two gamers for you, the true gamers. I'm one of your hosts, Eddie, along with my bro, the inverted gamer himself, Sheps. Bro, how you doing today?
Actually awful. I just realised that I go like this because you and I are opposite each other.
Right.
But in the video, you're there.
Yeah.
And now I'm really self-conscious.
See, now everything's ruined. You know, they've probably been
just delete the channel.
Just to make you extra sensitive on this.
They've all noticed it, but been like, let's not mention it.
No.
You know?
Look, a fucking idiot.
It's like those people that are too embarrassed to tell you that you've got something in your teeth, and then they let you go around with like lettuce stuck in your teeth.
Can I tell you one time that happened to me?
Go on.
So it was back when I used to work at Curry's. So waking up at the crack of dawn to go and open up the shop and whatnot. Still fucking sleeping the whole time. I got on the train, I was sitting there, and maybe like halfway into the journey, so like 25 minutes into the journey, one woman plucked up the courage to bloody tell me to not leave me embarrassing myself all the way to work. She was like, "Excuse me, you got like a ton of white stuff all over like your face over here." Immediately thinking, "Oh my god, that's Jerry from last night."
Of course, yeah.
But actually, it was like toothpaste that I just didn't bother to check. It was just all like gotten all like dry down the side of my face, and I was like, "Oh dear God!" rubbing my face trying to get out, but it was all in my beard and stuff like that. It was the worst.
That's one of those things where
the earth could have swallowed me up right then.
Like people don't seem to realize that you're doing that person a favor.
Yeah,
you know, but I think it's like they don't want to be the messenger, right? But like, no, you're helping people. Let people know.
The more silence, the more embarrassment as it goes on. Come on now.
True.
Anyway, that was the totally embarrassing thing. This is a gaming podcast.
That's right.
This is the True Gamer Podcast.
True.
Which we should start off by thanking our super bros who support us over at patreon.com/Conbrosations, who keep the show alive, who keep the lights and mics on. Those great people over there, thank you so much. Our super bro this second week, is a My Juicy Left Nut. Thank you guys so much for keeping
that always cracks me up. I hate it as well because it always catches me, and we've been doing this for so long, and it always catches me out. Always catches me out.
Thank you, My Juicy Left Nut, and thank you everyone else who supports us over on Patreon. And let's talk about today's great topics, sir. So, big news. This is actually going to be a very exciting episode.
Okay.
Because there have been two leaks that have come out, and both console related.
Okay.
The next console related. Given the order they came out, it kind of makes me feel kind of suspicious that maybe Microsoft were trying to do a thing. It's like, oh shit, PlayStation's getting a lot of like buzz and conversation going. Maybe we should let something out. Maybe we can get some conversation back. Yeah. However, when you find out what that's been leaked, you're like, this was nowhere near.
That wasn't the move.
This isn't the same thing. This is not
Microsoft
even a thing.
Not with another L? Who could have seen that coming?
This episode is going to be quite a few L's for you. But let's start off with...
By the way, I just want to say, I actually hate that. I want more dubs for Xbox.
We all do.
Yeah, and also because if they were making money, they might stop just buying everything.
Yeah.
And then firing everybody so that they have a badge with no brand behind it because they fired everybody that made the brand, and then therefore they can't make anything good, and then there's still nothing good, but they also take it away from like anyway. I want to get back to the 360 and PS3 days, you know, where it was like, damn, which one do you go for, you know?
PC Gamer quoted Phil Spencer saying that, I don't get the luxury of not having to run a profitable growing business. And he blames...
Wait, what?
He blames capitalism, basically, for the way the Xbox is promoted.
Yeah.
Zacchino sent me that just like a few minutes ago.
That is the funniest thing. Like, the guy is he should run for politics because he's great. He's taking nothing but L's and then somehow making it your fault. And if it's not your fault, it's capitalism's fault.
Yeah.
And then, like, it's just... Hey man, don't blame me, blame capitalism. What?
Everyone else isn't involved in the same universe.
Forget that we made a crap product.
No.
You know, forget that we're going up against like Wagyu beef and instead we're giving you like Big Macs. Forget that. It's capitalism.
It's capitalism.
Those capitalist pigs, why always?
Okay. the topic for today's episode is the PlayStation 5 Pro rumored leaked specs. So it gets very technical, and honestly, once you hear the numbers, you don't really know what you're hearing here. But the headlines are that the GPU is supposed to be 3.3 times more powerful than the base PS5.
I know that 3 is more than 1.
3 is definitely more than 1, so that's a huge thing right there.
And then 3.3 is 2 3s.
Exactly.
So that's 6 times more powerful. Wait, double more than 3 over 1. That is 6.
It's supposed to have more memory bandwidth in the RAM. It's supposed to have 1 terabyte of storage as opposed to the 875. So not a huge jump, but something more. And it's supposed to have it's supposed to be implementing a new technology similar to NVIDIA does with their GPUs, the DLSS. There's going to be a PSS something or another. Cool. PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, they call it. So PSSR.
These nerds.
I know, these fucking Mark Cerny over there jacking himself off. He's like,
we'll call it Spectral.
Oh, that's what he's doing. Anyway, it all sounds lovely. The one thing, first of all, what are your opinions on a PlayStation 5 Pro? Are you excited? Are you the kind of person that does go for them? Would you be interested in buying it? Or you're like, I'm chill, I'm cool how I am?
It's a little bit, I'm in a weird spot. Because you and me are sort of polar opposites. I still use my day of release PS4 for our Netflix and stuff. Yeah. I don't play games on it, it's like dated, but like I still use it. And you are sat in front of 4 different PS4s and a couple of those are pros, right? A little bit of me actually is excited because it feels like something new, and I feel like the last 4 years, something about 2020 to 2024 has just been a blur. And a bit of me is like, oh yeah, new console, not exactly new, but new console, new tech, maybe some new games, new designs, stuff like that. I will say, I haven't cleaned my PS5 once, and I still don't hear the fans kick on.
That's how great this console is, to be honest.
Right? Like, and to be fair, I'm not using a huge amount at the minute. Most of the gaming that I'm doing when I do get a chance to game is actually on the gaming rig, and my new video game is learning to code. I don't know what it is, but it's sort of gamified a bit. And I'm just like, I'm digging. I'm trying to get the platinum for Python, you know?
Haven't got a platinum in your life, but you're doing it for Python.
I'm going to 100% it. So a bit of me is like, well, sort of what's the point? I don't feel like there's any game at the minute that's maxing out my PS5.
True.
Like there's nothing where I'm like, damn. Look, for example, The Last of Us Part 2, when it came out on the PS4, that was the end of the PS4. Yeah, it was very obvious that by the way, incredible work that Naughty Dog did to get it to run on that thing and look as good as it did.
It looked magical, man.
It was incredible. They did some wizardry there, but it was very obvious that the PS4 was at its ragged edge.
Yeah,
I haven't come close to that on the PS5, not even close. So a bit of me is like, do we need it? No. I don't need a 3.5 times more powerful GPU, CPU with extra fast RAM and. I mean, I do like the idea of being told you get 1 terabyte and you get 1 terabyte, the OS doesn't count. So it's actually 1.15 or whatever, but what I can use is what the hard drive is. Fuckers. But it is kind of cool. And I am hoping, a little bit of me has a bit of hope that we're 4 years into the life cycle. We are halfway in, roughly. There shouldn't be anything coming to the PS4 that's new now. And with that spec, I'm really hoping if the low spec is, well, it's got to run on a PS5, the high spec could do some really interesting stuff. Like if they're looking at Ratchet and Clank, a Rift Together, right? Like,
because of course that's the next.
They did a part. Now you gotta get it together.
Now we gotta bring the world. You can imagine Tom Holland saying it in like a Spider-Man trailer. Like, we must bring the world together.
Yeah, exactly. If the low spec is the PS5, then what are they going to be able to do with the PS5 Pro? So I'm kind of hopeful about that. Is there any wording on price?
No wording on price, unfortunately. People are speculating all the way. People are being realistic to people being delusional.
What do you think is realistic? Because I'll tell you this. When a Pro comes out, I'm willing to give it day of release original pricing.
Yeah.
If it comes out and they're like, hey, here's a PS5, it hasn't really changed price. And here's a PS5 Pro, it's £749.
Yeah.
That's okay, mate.
I think the PS5. 449 was the price of the PS5, but it did go up in price, I think, because of like inflation.
Yeah,
and shit like
which
that.
happens.
So 449. I do think it's going to be around about the 449 area. However, there is one point that I didn't bring up just yet, is that apparently the console is going to have the exact same CPU as the PlayStation 5. So while the GPU's gotten a ton more powerful, the CPU is still exactly the same. Is that a cost thing to drive down the price? I mean, because it's a mid-gen upgrade, I think people are being a little bit too unreasonable to assume everything's brand new. It's like, well, what's the point in the cycle? What's
I don't necessarily have a problem with that. Yeah.
It's like, what's the point in going PS5, PS6 then if you're just going to do everything from scratch again, you know?
Yeah, I don't necessarily have a problem with that.
It's like we don't bring out mid-gen cycles of like GPUs in PCs and then start going, all right, now this is the 5000 series and this is the 6000 series.
Yeah. Also,
so maybe that's the reason why it might drop to 450 then.
A bit of me is thinking, well, and I, to be fair, don't really understand the tech, really. But it is a gaming console. I would think, just like in general, the GPU is the thing that does the heavy lifting. The CPU gets the OS running, basically.
Well, here's the thing. We're speaking a little bit out of our asses. Right? We're only as good as the internet tells us we are, and the internet tells us regularly we're idiots.
There is one thing. They're hearing this on the internet, so everything we say is true.
That's so the catch,
like,
that's the loop.
See what I mean? You can just barrel into something.
There you go.
Do you know what I mean?
From what I hear from the people who seem to know what they're talking about, the frame rate of games is kind of CPU dependent.
Okay.
So the fact that it hasn't changed, people are not expecting miracles in the frame department.
Okay.
Now, it's not like games are running super low. I mean, there were some games that used, a handful of games, however many games it was, where like people were like going, oh, we're aiming for 60 FPS, and it was like dropping to like 50s and 45, something like that. So maybe the extra GPU power will also help take the load off, and then the CPU can push out more frames. I'm not sure. I do have faith in Mark Cerny, though. He's not proved us wrong.
They do kind of miracle work over there.
They kind of know what the fuck they're doing. So if they say this is good enough, I'm going to be like, until it's out, I can't say anything.
Agreed.
I can't say anything.
Also, as a bit of a frame rate whore, I will say that we're a little bit spoiled. If a console's running 60 FPS at 4K native, that's actually enough.
Yeah.
You know? And realistically...
Well, that's the thing. We haven't hit that spot yet. We've had upscaling and stuff like that. With this.
Yeah.
And especially with the new that DLSS feature, the PSSR.
Yeah.
If that's as good as we're hoping it will be, like with DLSS, that could work wonders and that could make it amazing. So fingers crossed that's something that works really well. Yeah.
The other thing as well is, like, if you're looking for top end, like, and competitive stuff, no one's competitive on consoles. Like, if you're being competitive, you move to a beast PC. And when I say beast, I mean like you put £1,000 aside specifically to build a thing just to play your game.
Or you win a competition, they give you £3,000 PC right there.
Perfect. That's right.
Why don't you all do that?
Or you start a mid-level YouTube channel.
Emphasize on the mid.
Yes, capital M-I-D. You know? What about you though? What do you think about the PS5 Pro? Because you had 4 PS4 Pros, I want to say, from memory.
I bought the base one when it came out, so it's black.
Then they made it in white.
The white one, so I bought that one. I think I bought the...
You bought the collector's edition,
500 million one, so it's like clear blue and whatnot.
And I want to say there was another one, but I don't remember why.
There was one more. I'm pretty sure there was.
I don't remember why you did that.
But if not, 3 is still far more than anyone should have.
Yes, yeah. Considering it was like, well, it's a reskin. But I don't have it.
Hold on a minute, you're saying it's another color?
Right.
Well,
and this is why. This, by the way, is why I don't understand why I'm more pro microtransaction than you. As long as it's cosmetics, I would think you'd be all about that.
I think it's the physical thing. I need to be able to touch it and look at it and caress it and make love to it and stuff like that. It's like a car, like a 1969 Mustang or something like that. Oh, I can do that.
I do find myself when you're like talking, because if you guys don't know, the 500 million PS4 Pro, it had like that clear plastic. Like, you know, the Game Boy had that clear purple plastic. I've still got one of those.
That's why I had to have it.
Yeah, exactly. It's got that sort of thing to it. And like there's a light strip so I can see some of it reflected. I do find myself looking at it often and like seeing if I can see anything inside. And like, yeah, it's there's something about that one in particular. Like you and me have very similar tastes, and you're much more of a collector than I am. And most of this stuff I don't like care about. Yeah. But there is one thing that I'm like, man, that's impressive. And you, by the way, it's sitting just underneath the Leviathan X. I'm like, that's cool. Man, that PS5 Pro. You know, and it's a PS4 as well. Like, who cares about PS4? Do you know what I mean? It's PS4.
It's just the memories of it now.
Also, there is something about, I think maybe it's because we're 90s babies, where like, you show me that Game Boy Color with that see-through plastic.
Yeah.
I'm nursing a semi straight away. And I think it's something about that.
The amount of times I've gone on, like, there are websites that make Game Boys from like those cases and stuff like that, but they like upgrade the screen on them or something like that. So it's like actually playable for today's standards and not like we was back when I was a kid. And the amount of times I'm like,
you're like, hey babe, is Ali eating this week? Yeah, sweet.
All right, cool, we got it. We got it. Back to the question of the PlayStation 5 Pro. I am 100% day one on the PlayStation 5 Pro. I'm a sucker for technology.
Don't ever change.
Thank you so much, bro. You accept me for who I am.
It's true.
I'm a sucker for technology. I really, really like my new tech and stuff like that. But also,
you're a day one adopter, and you do this. You do this, by the way. If you don't know this guy, and it's caused problems in the past, you do it for new OSs on the Apple. Any Apple product, if there's a new OS, you get it.
Last week I upgraded this as well.
Do you ever give feedback, or do you just use it?
I just use it.
That's the worst kind of first. Like, you just use it, you're like, man, this sucks.
I'm downloading the beta profile, which is like unstable and everything, so I can get the access first. Shit breaks down, I don't say anything about it. And they're like, oh, everything must be fine then.
But like, that's
I'm the reason you guys have shit OSs.
That's what I'm saying. Like, you do, like, it doesn't make any sense. And you've always done this. You like, the second a new phone comes out, you get it.
Yeah.
The second, and that's not in you're a consumer. It's like, well, it's new.
I did slow down a little bit at some point though. So like, I didn't, when I had the iPhone, I used to get it like every year.
Well, there's not such big changes anymore.
Yeah, it's true. And with the OS for this, actually, when I bought it, I didn't upgrade it anymore because after all those times that I did do it, I realized I was like, what it was doing was breaking other programs. And if they came to a point where we needed to edit and I couldn't edit, that's fucked everything up. Yeah. But I did upgrade this the other day, and thankfully everything went through smoothly. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Anyway, PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yes.
I like to have the cool new shiny thing, but also it's my big hobby. It's my thing that gives me a lot of happiness. It's the thing that I spend a lot of time in.
Yeah.
The thing that gets me out of like all the stress of work and things like that. It's not something that I do just occasionally on the side and it's like, why am I investing so much money into it? Yeah. It's something that I really enjoy. So I see the benefit of it there. Yeah. And if it's going to be a decent improvement where it's like 4K 60 FPS like you're saying, and I'm going to get to see the next, I mean, recently Horizon Forbidden West came out on PC. And people are saying it's the best looking game, full stop. Since they're like comparing it to Cyberpunk 2077 ray tracing and stuff like that. I was like, wow, that sounds fantastic. If I can get, I mean, Forbidden West looked fantastic on PS5 anyway.
Yes, it did. Yeah.
So if they bring out like a patch and it's even better on that, I want to be one of those guys that says, I saw that and that was freaking amazing. This is what we're doing. And then also I can be able to talk about things.
And then you can tell the PC losers like, oh, everything comes to PC. Yeah, but you had to wait 4 years for a game that looked like this. And it played on a console. You suck.
And there is also a little bit of a part of it. And I know a lot of people aren't going to understand this because it's a weird time. I mean, they might see me as being weird, to be honest. It's a weird time we're living in. People don't want to ever give a company props for anything. So like, PlayStation are making good games. I'm like, cool, I'll reward that by buying the games. I'll reward that by buying your console.
Yeah, I'm a customer of you because you win my custom.
But people are like, well, you shouldn't give them anything, and they should be giving you the best things in the world, and you should give them nothing in return. I was like, that's not how life works.
Also, I wish we could just apply that a little bit more generally then. Can we do that? Not just like one game company?
Just PlayStation.
Yeah.
Anyway, so because they make good stuff, I'm like, cool. I'm gonna
I'll invest
buy into that because and that also helps the ecosystem boost even more and whatnot. So
there is one thing you said which I would like to jump on a little bit. You said it's my hobby and I enjoy it, and
just as a quick side note, so like I have friends who I used to game with back in like my game attack, Sheps Almighty, is from Halo 1, 2001, whenever it came out. We're sitting in my mate's attic, right?
Nice.
Like, just because it was a space and we could game up there and it was soundproofed, and like we were 2 a.m. just playing Halo 1, right? And then school the next day sort of thing. Some of those guys now are like big into golf, as an example, right? Those dudes will they won't blink at spending 1,500 quid on new golf bats, clubs.
Sounds good. Sounds right, but I don't know.
The on golfing equipment, right? Or like £300 on the bag to hold their bats or whatever it is. Clubs, golf clubs, golf
sounds
bats?
Right.
Golf clubs, golf clubs,
I think it's clubs. Yeah, it's golf clubs. Sorry,
golf clubs.
I was thinking of The Last of Us, and I was like, it's golf club.
Golf club. That's it. The Last of Us. See, informing us.
See?
Educational.
And
that's the thing. Is like it's a hobby. It's something that it's not just a loser activity to waste some time, right? It gives me enjoyment. And with every other hobby, like if you get big into rock climbing, dudes don't turn up in sweatpants and like just go for it. If you're really into it, you buy a harness, you buy the shoes, you get the chalk. You know, you got to look like a proper dickhead. Same with cyclists. Like a friend of mine's dad spent something like 10 grand on a road bike just to cycle for enjoyment. I think he's quite successful, but that's like his bike costs like 20 times what my car costs, you know?
That's a pricey bike right there, but
it is. And buys all like the Lycra and the special shoes and all that stuff.
Because he enjoys it.
Right.
It's his thing.
Exactly. And if you enjoy cycling activities or genocide, the same sort of people.
Yeah, same sort of people and the same sort
basically identical.
Overlapping, yeah.
Right, exactly. But my point is that like if you enjoy gaming, like you should invest in it. Yeah. If you have the money and it's something you find important, right? Like it isn't something that you have to defend. It's like I'm looking to upgrade my TV maybe for the PlayStation.
Oh, yeah.
Because although I don't jump on it all that time, we use it a lot. It's our primary source of entertainment. And if I want to jump on the PlayStation, I don't want like I need to finish Jedi Survivor, right? I barely started it. And one of the reasons, it's not the full thing, but it looks kind of shitty on my crap TV because my TV is like 10 years old. I think it's 1080p, but like it should be better.
Yeah.
It can be better. And me and the missus will get enjoyment out of it. And it's a good additional like periph for my hobby.
Yeah.
So why wouldn't I do it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then obviously I'm going to get the gaming glove so I can hold my DS5
and then you need a gaming chair as well
to
add more FPS to the game.
It's true. Or like we were talking earlier about I'm potentially at some point in the near future going to upgrade the graphics card in the rig. And then the power unit's kind of maxed out at this point. So maybe you need to upgrade that. And it's like, well, I do want to upgrade the graphics card. And maybe I need to do the motherboard, the CPU as well if I'm doing that. And then I need the power supply. And like, it's one of the problems with PC gaming, which by the way, being a PC gamer with a very, very powerful machine has made me more of a console gamer than ever before. I absolutely love consoles. They're the best thing since sliced bread. I absolutely love it.
Just that convenience.
It's just, do you know, like I've had so many issues with the gaming rig where like an update comes out or a patch needs to happen and that screws up something else. You have to go back to an old version and whatever it is. Do you know what I do on the PlayStation? I just press the button. I absolutely love it. But my point is that it is something you get a lot of enjoyment out of. Yeah. So it makes sense to do the thing. And also you get the experience. Like get the PS5 Pro. Is it, incredible? It might be. Yeah. Does it have a different form factor? Because you got some cool like...
I don't know if it's going to be different, unfortunately. We don't have any looks at this thing or anything like that, but just the specs have been leaked.
Because you've got some really nice panels.
Yeah. If anything, I mean, I'll display them beautifully when I redesign the office that I've got planned so far. I want to read some of the responses because I did put this out on Twitter to ask people like, what are you guys thinking? Day one, later, not bothered. What's your opinion? Rhino the Bouncer messaged and he said, PS5 Pro is a day one for me. I love to be able to play existing and future games with less compromise as possible between graphics, resolution and frame rate. And that's another side of it as well. If you're just like hardcore, I mean, all the PC gamers can understand that. They all want to get the best level possible performance they can. And that's just another way of doing it. They just want the convenience of it being in a console. That one's about the Xbox Series X. Tia said, "Nah, I'm happy with my boy," and he sent a picture of his PS5 with some God of War stickers on it, which are actually really cool. Hey, if you're happy with your console the way it is, no problem.
Yeah.
BV says, "I would get a PS5 Pro because of its power." He also says, "I can play most Xbox games on my PC, so a PS5 Pro is the way, in my opinion." Your single brain cell werewolf boyfriend. Great name. Day One Pro, but to play exclusives as nicely as possible. That's another thing as well, because you know the PlayStation games are going to be utilizing it to the max.
Why wouldn't you?
I mean, it's your thing, innit? It'll be promoting your console for more sales. Some people are saying depends on the price. PS5 Pro to pair it with GTA 6 all the way. In case you guys didn't know, that's actually the biggest reason why the PS5 Pro is coming out, by the way.
Okay.
Because they were considering it, they put up all the plans, how much would it cost, what would be the cost benefit analysis, would we be able to shift them, and then they'll go, GTA 6 is coming out around about the time we're projecting this to be done. Get a partnership that is going to push sales.
If you can bring out a PS5 Pro with, and not even the panels, just the box, if the box has GTA 6 on it, it doesn't matter how good that game is. For the first 2 months, you're going to ship, I mean, every single one. Every single one's gone.
Every single one. I can tell you right now.
People are still buying GTA 5 new today. Which actually makes me a little aggressive. I don't understand it.
You gotta shake people like, why are you doing this?
Also because it's been free like 4 times.
How is it, if the selling it part and everyone else, it should have been reached market saturation by now.
Easily.
Just through selling.
Easily.
The free part should have been all right. Now people cannot buy it because it's literally in their library. It doesn't allow them to purchase it again. How are they still selling it?
I don't understand.
They're like deleting their profile so they can buy it again.
That's the thing, innit? It must be GTA 5 players must not realize that they don't have to make a new Steam if they get a new console, like a new rig. They're just like, oh, I need GTA 5 again.
No. So I have to delete the whole profile and buy it again.
But out of curiosity.
Yeah, so most people are on the side of a PS5 Pro. Some people are like, nah, I'm cool. Depends on the price, and it really does depend on the price as well. Let's not be stupid about it. But another reason why I would go for the PS5 Pro as well is because ever since launch, I've been thinking about buying another PlayStation so I could put one downstairs. Mm-hmm. But it always seemed a little bit like, okay, that's a little bit more of a frivolous purchase. It's like, just because I can't be bothered to go upstairs.
So is this going to be your first time where you'll keep the previous console?
Yeah, so what I'm thinking is I'll buy the PS5 Pro, put that up here, and then put the base PS5 downstairs.
That's one thing we maybe didn't mention, is when you would buy a new version of the thing, you would sell the old thing to part fund the new thing. Yeah. You're not just like throwing constant money and just piling up consoles in the back. Like, if you have a PS4 Pro and then they bring out a white one, you sell the original, you buy the new one, and the new one comes functionally at a discount.
Yeah.
For a thing you were going to buy anyway. So there are smart ways to do it. Yeah. But there are smarter ways to do a dumb thing. So overall, we're all sort of... See, there was talk of a PS5 Pro maybe a couple of years ago, and I was like, nah, that's stupid. But at this point, I feel ready for it to come out. Again, maybe not for me. But I'm excited that it is happening, mainly because I'm hoping it will be this is a PS5 Pro. Nothing that runs on a PS4 Pro when it releases new should be touching this thing, right? These games run on the PS5 or PS5 Pro. Yeah. And it's kind of frustrating that we're 4 years into the life cycle and things still release on the PS4.
Yeah, it's...
Which is different to something releasing on the PS4. Yeah. If you're an indie dev and you're making something and it, for some reason released on the PS4, like that's cool, but not like a AAA studio shouldn't be releasing anything that runs on the PS4.
Yeah. The PS5 Pro, we should be hearing about it, I would suspect, fairly soon, because it's supposed to be coming out holiday this year. That's what the rumors are saying.
Is there a deep dive scheduled anytime this year?
We haven't got anything on the
damn it,
schedule.
Sony.
We need to have some sort of word because they need to reveal it. And PlayStation, at least with the PlayStation 5, they did it controller first.
Yeah.
Then they went like specs. Then they went like the outside look. And then they went games or whatever. So if they're going to like build up similarly like that, even though we've already seen the controller, it's probably not going to change.
For a few months.
We haven't got that long, right? And they have to sort of get that out there. And then maybe they're waiting for GTA 6 to start getting their ball rolling. And then they can coincide with that, maybe.
Maybe.
They've probably got a plan, but we should be hearing about it pretty soon, so pretty excited for that.
So that was our Sony leak.
Yes.
What was our Microsoft leak?
The Microsoft leak is right here. I'm going to message you the picture.
Okay.
It's actually over on my phone here. So, do you remember when there was the court case going on for Activision Blizzard?
Yeah.
And then a bunch of things got leaked in there, including emails and how Phil and Matt really think about the community.
You mean what we were saying the whole time? You're crazy. Yeah.
Where everything of ours was confirmed. They put out a slide and it looked like it was like a circular trash can thing, and they were talking about an all digital Xbox Series X.
Right.
They named it adorably all digital, as if anyone has ever called any digital console adorable. Anyway, apparently this is going to be the next product that Xbox are offering. It's an Xbox Series X.
Yeah.
In white. Mm-hmm. And without a disk drive.
Big dubs for Microsoft.
They just can't stop with the W's.
Do you know what I would think they could do here? Is number one, it's just a very boring. It looks like a 1990s tower. PC tower.
Yeah, when it's in white, right?
Yeah.
And after a couple of days, it's going to start yellowing and stuff like that. A couple of weeks more like.
I think they should copy, crazily enough, but they refuse to copy Sony. I think they should copy Sony a little bit and make something that's a bit more Marmite. Like, the PS5, but it's ugly, it doesn't make sense to go inside, whatever, right? Make some really aggressive air intakes on the front.
Yeah.
That, like, actually make it, you know how there's like what works and then what like designers say people will like. Make it what works, because what works looks insane. Just these weird shapes. Just slap that all over the front of this thing, so it has like the best airflow you've ever seen, and then at least there'll be something to look at.
Yeah.
Right? Because I think I originally didn't really like the PS5 the way it looked. I think it looked okay as a console, but at least there's something to look at compared to this.
Yeah.
This looks very, very boring.
It's very sterile.
It really is. And then you can add to that there just isn't. That's their game ecosystem as well. There's just not a huge amount there.
Yeah.
Like, no one's displaying this. No one's got like a very proud display of like the generations of that, and it ends here. Like, I think
after the 360, it's just black box.
Oh no, here's a white box.
A white box. That's a great.
And there's something to be said for like, the DeLorean. That car looks insane.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
Yeah.
But like, that's kind of the reason we like it.
Yeah.
Right? Like, just make something. I would rather if this was ugly. Then like it looks it's nothing.
Then nothing.
It's like I said, it's sterile. Make something ugly, and people like the PS3 was ugly. PS3 was ugly.
Yes, it was.
But I love that console.
Yeah,
I love that console. And then the PS3 Slim was stupid.
Yeah, that whole like the slidey top thing. What the fuck
crap.
was that?
Crap. But I have like fond memories.
And
of
it felt cheap as well because it was like a plastic.
It was terrible. It was terrible. It was terrible. But that's my point. Is like I have like memories of that, and I don't think anyone has a huge amount of memories about the console.
No one has a memory of the Xbox One. No one has a memory of the Xbox One X. No one has a memory of any of the Xbox Series.
No.
It's just
I fondly talk about the Red Ring of Death on my 4
360s.
Yeah.
Often. I loved that console and it broke constantly. And also, how iconic that the way you fixed it was often you wrap a towel around it. Do you know why this was? If you don't know, the Xbox 360 had terrible heat dispersion. So one very common issue was that a specific soldering joint would fail. Yeah. And the way you fixed it was you would wrap a towel around it, which would overheat the console and remelt the connection. And it worked often.
Yeah.
I had that failure on 2 of my, I think I had 3 360s, and it worked both times.
That's crazy, isn't it?
But I love that console. I love the 360. I'm so glad you didn't listen to me when I was trying to push to move us from PlayStation to Xbox back in the day.
That would have been like the Last of Us Part 2 Collector's Edition exponentially increased, because that was bitter for a little bit. But I was like,
it really was.
But this whole console would have been too much.
Yeah, that would have been terrible.
So they're making a digital only Xbox Series X.
That's not a leak. That's not a leak.
My question is...
That's not news.
My question is why? My question is why?
What's the point in it?
Because they have an issue selling consoles.
Yeah.
Did they really think,
people want less usability.
The reason is because they can put a disc in it. If we remove the ability to do that, then it'll be flying off the shelves. What? They have a problem selling consoles, so they think, let's redesign the console to make it less.
But this is...
I don't get it.
But also,
what's the logic?
The thing is as well...
And then they're going to turn around and be like, fucking capitalism, innit?
Capitalists, isn't it? Capitalists. But it all comes back to that Phil Spencer comment of like, if we make good games, no one's going to sell their PS5 to buy an Xbox. Like, that is the problem. The real reason is not that this console's ugly. Not even ugly. It's nothing, right? That's not the reason nobody buys it. It's that there's nothing to play on it versus a PlayStation versus a PC.
Yeah. If it was the ugly thing, like you said, some people didn't like the look of the PlayStation 5. Console. Some people didn't like the look of the PlayStation 5. How is it selling gangbusters right now?
Yeah.
It's because the products on it were good.
Yeah.
So people were like, I'll get over that shit. I'm not one of those people, but if they were, that wouldn't be selling. Yeah. That would be the prevailing conversation.
Also,
but it's nothing to do with
my PS5 goes down the side of my TV. Yeah. I barely see it. Right? I don't care because I didn't buy it for the way it looks. Right? I bought it for the games that I can play on it.
Yeah.
And that is really the problem with the Xbox, is there's nothing good to play on it. And forget Game Pass and all of that stuff. There is nothing that is really genuinely incredible to play that you can only play. Let's just say Game Pass, even if you can play it on PC, right? There's just nothing. Don't get me wrong. I know there are some games you can play on there, like I think, well, you can play Rainbow Six on the PlayStation as well, can't you?
Yeah.
I thought that was a big one for Xbox, but there's just make some games. Yeah. That's all they need to do, is make some games that the only way to play it for anyone for 3 to 6 months is to have it on your Xbox. That's all you've got to do.
That's what we thought the play was when it came to buying all these big studios and things like that.
Yeah.
However,
all they've done is fire people.
They've just done it so bad, and also they didn't double down on trying to make these products good.
Yeah.
So like Starfield could have easily been the moment where things flipped over.
Yeah.
Could have been the moment where the winds have changed. Maybe Xbox become a bit more competitive.
Yeah.
And same with Redfall. The same with every other game that came out of Bethesda. However, they were just okay with releasing mediocrity.
Yeah, they were okay with okay.
Yeah. And that's the worst thing you could have done, especially in this desperate time that you had here. And now, all the people, when they announced they were going to buy Activision Blizzard, everyone was like, they're going to do that with Activision Blizzard. They are unfortunately in a situation where they cannot do that now. Like we said in the beginning, they're not going to make Call of Duty exclusive. They're not going to make all these other big games that are of consequence exclusive, because they cannot anymore. They need to make money. And unfortunately, they've bred a whole ecosystem of people not buying anything.
I argued for... I mean, not like the Call of Duty thing, that is taking things away, but I argued that they should make things exclusive, where anything that's new, or like Elder Scrolls 6, would it suck? Yeah, because I'm an Elder Scrolls fan, a bit.
But yeah, like you own it, put it.
The only part of that conversation though is that the game needs to be fantastic
and it needs to sell. Yeah, it needs to sell, and who you're going to sell it to? The only people that will buy it are on PlayStation. But like, this is the other thing. So like, Starfield is still primed to do a Cyberpunk. Like, I think it was yesterday, Sophie is now playing Cyberpunk. Yeah, and she tweets like, "Oh my god, what do I do?" she's at the very end and had like the dilemma. And I was talking to her because I've been streaming, she's been hanging out, and I was saying like, Cyberpunk had issues at the beginning, and some of those issues were, a lot of the issues that I took with it weren't so much stability and bugs and stuff, because I can forgive a lot of that stuff. It's that the game felt a bit empty and the decisions didn't matter. But that's all been remedied. And it shows, because here she is going, literally agonizing over left or right. Okay. You know? Starfield is primed for that. Primed for it. But what they won't do is go, here is a 10-man team. Your job for the next 6 months, your only job, is to redesign every single one of these caves so that there is something different at the end of it.
So something interesting.
There's a different path. There is a reason to be in there.
Yeah.
Here's a team. Your job is to rework whatever the story is, whatever those issues are. Like here, you guys, you do NPC interactions. If somebody starts shooting off a gun in the middle of a town, the NPC should, crazily enough, react to that in a way that isn't from 2010, right? Like, and in 6 months to a year's time, Starfield could be, hey man, have you checked out Starfield recently? Like you know how people are talking today about like, hey, have you checked out Cyberpunk? Cyberpunk's actually fantastic. And then you release a DLC for it. And then suddenly you have a reason to be on Xbox. But they won't do it. They won't do it because it flopped, because they allowed it to flop because they were okay, like I said, with mediocrity.
Exactly.
It's really sad.
That apology that Phil Spencer gave after Redfall came out, being like, "Oh, we really like dropped the bag on this one." Like, sorry, I'm like, none of these words mean anything.
No, they don't mean anything.
None of these words mean anything, because at the end of the day, you let it go out.
Absolutely,
you let it go out. As soon as you got the first red flag, you should have been like,
"But
stop! We cannot afford this.
No,
we cannot afford to let this thing happen."
But equally, Redfall is also primed for this. Like, Redfall did better than Starfield in that people talk about it. If you get that team and make Redfall good, and in 6 months' time you like ghost drop a DLC for it or something, and then anybody that's stuck with it goes, "Oh yeah, actually Redfall is really good now." Like, people might, crazily enough, buy the game.
Crazy thought.
People are buying Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk is the biggest flop in gaming history, I think. Can't think of a worse offender.
It was a very big. Well, the thing is, it didn't flop because it made sales.
Yes.
So technically, on paper, it didn't flop.
It's the biggest.
But in terms of image dirtying, like properly
there you go.
filthied the image of CD Projekt Red.
Really did.
That was one of the biggest ones I can remember.
It's probably the biggest bomb drop on your own brand loyalty that we've ever seen ever in anything.
But Microsoft are giving them a run for their money.
I know, and that's the thing, is like, it's just so frustrating. Like, they'll spend $70 billion on Activision Blizzard, but they won't make Starfield good and Redfall good. Like, that was my big
takeaway from this thing. I couldn't. People were like talking about, oh, should they buy a thing? Should they help out these bad working conditions under Bobby Kotick? Should they help move developers away from Call of Duty so it's not just a Call of Duty machine? All these other things, and I was like, that's all nonsense. That's all nonsense. Stop talking about all of that nonsense.
Yeah, agreed.
Why don't they spend just a fraction of that money to fund an overpriced quality game to show we can do this?
1% of that money.
Why?
$7 million, right?
No, $700 million. I think is it 700 supposed to be?
No, it's $70 million, right? 70 million, 700 million, 70 billion.
No, I think you're forgetting a zero.
Hey Siri, what's 1% of 70 billion? 700 million.
$700 million. That would be the most expensive game. 2 and a bit times more than Spider-Man 2 was, and Spider-Man 2 was way over budget.
700 million to
1%.
make adjustments to both Starfield and Redfall, and I would use Redfall.
Even if you said scrap those, start from scratch, they made a brand new IP, but they invested 700 million. I'd be like, that's fucking ballsy.
Absolutely.
But it shows you've got the fire in your gut.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they don't have that.
Yeah, they won't. They won't. And the reason I said go with those is you have products in place. As I know, they might have to reuse the animation where he gets in a boat.
That might be a deal breaker.
You got a penny pinch at 700 million, you know? But like, I would turn all my marketing to Redfall. I would redesign the game around the fact that it flopped initially, right? Yeah. All my marketing would be like, look at this thing. Look at it now, sort of, you know? Yeah. Like, make it lean into the meme, make some good fucking stuff, and then and go with it. Do something. Give us a product. Give me a reason. I want to buy an Xbox. I want to buy an Xbox. Yeah. And if I wanted to buy an Xbox, I would.
Yeah.
But the only thing that's going to get me there is stuff I can only play on Xbox that is worth playing. Elder Scrolls 6 should be incredible and only playable on an Xbox. Only playable on an Xbox. Fuck PC. Maybe give it some 6 months later. I go, we pay for Game Pass. Go away. And you should only be able to purchase it.
Yeah.
You can only buy Elder Scrolls 6. Make it 40 quid for Xbox players and 60 quid for Game Pass players. Make it 40 quid for them, and then make it available to everybody, but you can only play it on Xbox for the first 3 months. It's 40 quid if you buy it on Xbox. It's 70 quid if you buy it on the PlayStation. Fine, whatever. I don't care. In that case, and if it was as good as it should be, I'll buy the Xbox for those 3 months to play the game. There's nothing there.
Similar things going to happen with with GTA 6. So this whole thing just shows you how bad of a decision this is for Xbox. They're not coming out with it seems like they're not coming out with a mid-generation refresh console. It seems like they're just putting this digital-only Xbox Series X.
So they're getting even further behind the PS5 as well.
Exactly. So there's no further upgrades to the power or anything. So it's just going to be them falling behind. So there'll be the least powerful console that no one is buying. Well, there'll be a more powerful console out there that people are already attached to, the ecosystem already attached to. Yeah. It'll be centered around GTA 6, which Rockstar, for some reason, they don't release their new game on PC straight away. They wait a year or whatever it is. So the best way to play it will literally be only on PlayStation 5, on this PlayStation 5 Pro.
Yeah.
Everything is working against them. They will have no reason to sell any consoles. And then they'll sit there and twiddle their thumbs and go, but why?
Can I ask you a question? What is more powerful, PS5 Pro or Switch?
PS5 Pro.
How's the Switch doing?
I mean, the Switch is pretty monstrous. Pretty monstrous in terms of all of its games.
What's the difference then in that case between a Switch and an Xbox? Is it perhaps that there's stuff to play on the Switch?
Maybe that's it. You know,
that is the best example of it.
Yeah.
The best example of it. And I don't buy they have all these IPs that no one's ever heard of. Sony made these IPs out of nothing recently, relatively recently, right? Perfect example, Ghost of Tsushima. No one really knew about Sucker Punch. I mean, we knew about Sucker Punch, but they're not a big name. That's not a AAA studio, really.
Until they became a pretty big.
Until they made Ghost of Tsushima, right? That makes them AAA. Brand new IP, one of the most gorgeous games ever made. One of the best, I would say, the most the duels.
Yeah,
that is the most satisfaction I've ever had out of combat.
And I think you're not alone on Ghost of Tsushima because I see the conversation come up frequently, especially from Rhino the Bouncer. Which would you prefer, The Last of Us 3 or Ghost of Tsushima 2? And more often than not, people are saying Ghost of Tsushima 2.
And while it's a game I deeply love, I have beef with that game. The story and the final boss fight, mid-ish. No, not mid, but not the rest of the game. The rest of the game was setting it up to be a 10, maybe for me a perfect game.
Yeah.
Not quite the same as God of War, just doesn't have that, or The Last of Us doesn't stick with that story.
Best game ever made, so
right. Yeah. But I mean, I would straight up, the combat in Ghost of Tsushima craps all over all of God of War combined. It's just better, at least in me. And that, by the way, God of War, especially Ragnarok's combat.
Yeah, it's
great.
It's great. Very beautiful to look at.
It's great.
Combos, magic, and stuff like that.
It's great. It's great. But there's something about Ghost of Tsushima that just, I don't know, man. It's just, at least for me as well, a bit more fulfilling. And that's brand new. No one had ever heard of it before. It wasn't a thing. And a company invested the time, invested the money, and made something that was great. Like, sorry, but just do that. Just do that. You don't need Zelda. It doesn't have to be Zelda and Mario, right? Here is a brand new thing. Make a thing that is good. That's it. Redfall could have been it. Starfield could have been it. They've got enough IPs that they could refresh a dead one. Banjo-Kazooie, and I know I bang on about that, but that can compete in the family gaming space. Yeah. You know, make it good. Or do something new. And like I said, $700 million.
Just 1% of what you paid there. 1%.
I did.
And this is the reason why we don't have as much optimism as, say, the toxic like Xbox and stuff like that online, the Parises of the world and stuff like that. Because there
You're a big Paris fan.
He's just so. Anyway, there's so many things coming up, like the Indiana Jones game.
Yeah, that could go hard.
The Blade game coming up, the Fable, the next Elder Scrolls game. There's all this potential.
Yeah.
But potential is always squandered by the people who hold them.
Yeah.
And you've squandered it time and time and time and time again.
It's a bunch of bad decisions.
We have no faith in you now.
The thing is, they're optimizing bad decisions by making more decisions in a thing that shouldn't exist. And ultimately that revolves around Game Pass, right? And day one releases and stuff. Indiana Jones, Elder Scrolls 6, all of those games you just listed, those shouldn't go to Game Pass day one. The only way you should be able to play them for 6 months is to buy them. I'm okay with Game Pass. I think Game Pass is a great idea in principle if done properly, which is it should be a small service for a few people that can't afford brand new stuff who are okay to wait for that, for the ability to get the whole library later down the road. It's like they're casuals, right? You and me, we'd said this is our priority hobby. What are you? No, you can fuck off, bruv. Like this is our hobby. This is our number one. This is the way I like to spend my time. If I'm not spending it with my family, I want to be doing this, right? But there are some people that are like, I haven't gamed in 3 months. I'll fire up the Xbox and see what's on there. Those guys, that's who Game Pass is for. That shouldn't be for your whole customer base. No, go away, bruv. Take the hint. Like, flip that over. And that's what they should be doing.
Yeah.
And those games should come out. You should only be able to play them on the Xbox for 6 months, at least to a year, ideally. And you should only be able to play them if you purchase them. And then after that, it goes to Game Pass. And after that, it goes to everywhere else. Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass, and then everywhere else. That's how it should work. And they should be good. They should be good games. You and me should be sitting here saying like, man, I could get a PS5 Pro, but my PS5's still pretty good. Maybe I'll get the Xbox instead. That's where we should be.
Because really, it's not that much of an upgrade, a huge upgrade that you're like, well, this is a brand new generation. Yeah. Of course I'm going to buy a brand new generation. If they had a good enough offering, it would be a conversation. Be like, well, maybe I should get that as well.
If they had the X squared.
Because then I have the
If they were like X squared, it competes with the PS5 Pro-ish. Like, hardware, I don't really care about hardware, what's more powerful. I care what the good games are. And the only way to play Elder Scrolls 6, and like, do you know that Starfield's good now? Do you know that Redfall's good now? Like, the only way to play those is to get an Xbox squared or whatever, like an X2. Like, bruv, maybe we should get the X2.
But they keep trying to make it.
Well, because no one's going to sell their PlayStation to buy an Xbox.
There's like, no point in never
you
making
set the bar
games.
at a ridiculous place. It's so frustrating. I want us to be like, bro, how about this? You get the PS5 Pro, I'll get the X2, and then once I'm done with my games, we'll swap them. Like, we should do it because we game share. Like, we'll do that.
Yeah.
I want that to be a discussion we have to seriously consider.
But it's never going to be like that, unfortunately. And
it's
all
so
by their own hand.
So frustrating.
Regarding the digital-only white Xbox, I asked the guys what are their feelings on it and stuff like that. Alpha Aquila wrote in, he said, a console is a Blu-ray player as well, so not the Series X. I've still got my Xbox exclusives in my backlog / wish list, so I'll have enough time to wait for the PlayStation 6 because he's on the Xbox right now.
Yeah.
So he's like, this is not interesting to me. As well as that, consoles are Blu-ray players as well. So,
and ironically, that is what sold the PS3.
The thing is that they try. I feel that's the one area that I feel bad for Xbox in.
Yeah, Sony did them dirty there.
They did that, and it was a winning strategy. It was great.
Well, it's because they owned the field.
They owned it.
Yeah.
But then Xbox tried to do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And it failed miserably.
Yeah.
It did not do it. I mean, it's the early bird catches the worm type thing.
Yeah.
It's like everyone's already fed and eaten.
Yeah.
And then you come in and it's like, hey guys, we're doing it too. It's like, yeah, but
we
they tried to do that with the Xbox One. They tried to do it with the with the Xbox One. That's what they tried to do it with. And I even bought it because I was like, oh, that's a really cheap, like $150 for a Blu-ray player.
Yeah.
Even though I'm not gonna lie to you, it was done shitly.
Yeah.
Because it still had the Windows OS, so you still had to get a Blu-ray app. And I was like, what do you mean a Blu-ray app? What do I need? And then the app needed to be updated every now and again. And I was like, with the PlayStation, you just put the disc in and it's done. That's
and it was the better Blu-ray as well.
Exactly, that's the thing.
That's a Blu-ray, the cheapest one on the market, and you got a PlayStation with it.
And I bought it, and I was like, oh, cool. But then the controller was crap as well because it was a cheap version. Anyway, Cass writes in, he says, I definitely think about the Xbox Series X. So I would definitely think about the Xbox Series X if it were to take discs, as it would give me a reason to start actually buying Xbox games. But the digital-only version is pointless for me, as I have an S. Now, I hope the PS5 Pro takes discs at least. So he's 100% getting the Pro, he's saying.
Yeah, I mean, if your options are any form of Xbox or the PS5 Pro, and it's not going to hurt you to spend the extra money. Yeah. I'm not going to spend your money for you. You have to get the PS5 Pro. Yeah. It's the best in all of those categories, and there's stuff to play on it. Now, in your case, if you would consider the Xbox with the disc drive, well, that you can get your hands on an X with you can trust me.
Especially the price will be going down.
You can easily find yourself an Xbox Series X with the disc drive, and in that case, if you're on the S, upgrading to an X probably does make sense if you find it an okay experience. Yeah. The reality is though, if someone said, "Look, I could afford the 5, but I'm not sure if it's worth the money," I might get the X. Nah, you should get the PS5. Yeah. I'd feel very comfortable telling somebody that could comfortably afford it, not that they should spend the extra money on the PS5. Very comfortable with that. And by the way, here are a list of must plays. Both God of Wars, both Last of Us, Ghost of Tsushima, both Horizons. Right? Like that is, what's that? 6, 2, 4, 6, 7 games. God damn. Simple edition. And on camera. That is 7 games. That is 300 hours of gameplay. That you'll enjoy every second of. That's what you should be doing. Yeah. And I wouldn't have any problems telling someone that, you know?
Yeah, neither would I.
So,
by the way, I don't know if you guys noticed this. I wore the Bloodborne t-shirt today because it's just over 9 years since Bloodborne came to PS4. I don't remember that day right there.
Yeah. And also, obviously, you did the achievement that you can only get after waiting for 6 years.
It took 6 years to get that final achievement.
You're one of the trophy. You're one of the only people that has that.
I mean, I don't like to brag, you know. It's just like, let's not look it up or anything, because they'll make other people look bad. So
right. If you don't know the achievements off the top of your head, you can't look them up.
Exactly. Ether wrote in and he said, now why would somebody, perfectly says it, now why would somebody who is not interested in Xbox be suddenly, all of a sudden, interested in the Xbox Series X digital that is the exact same system?
That's the thing, isn't it? Like, oh.
Yeah, here you go. I've seen the Xbox Series X with the disc drive being sold for as low as $300 to $350. So yeah, why would anyone give a crap about this?
Did you say 350?
Yeah, 300 to 350.
300 to 350. If you can, like we were saying, if you're on the S and you would like an X with the disc and you can find one for 300, like that makes a lot of sense. There is no reason, none at all. And I was going to say it's not even ugly. It's not even a conversation piece.
No.
Like, it just, there is no, I wouldn't feel comfortable telling someone, buy any Series X, let alone pay full console price for a discless piece of tech from end of 2019.
I just don't understand how this wasn't a conversation. This very comment right here wasn't a conversation within Microsoft. Yeah. Like, we're not selling the console right now. They're not coming off the shelves. We're overstocked. We can't seem to. We have to reduce production. why weren't people interested in buying the Series X? Damn it, that goddamn disc drive. Let's take that disc drive out. Let's sell it for 50 quid cheaper. There we go, guys, 400.
Even better.
You can buy it for cheaper second hand. Why was this a conversation?
So cheaper second hand. Or actually new if you find the right place.
I'm pretty sure this place is doing it for this price, like you're saying,
stock off their shelves. And then they're like, hey, there's a leak for the PS5 Pro. We should leak our this will be, people get talking about it. Wait a minute. You want to this is like watching Usain Bolt and then leaking your year 10 sports day. Yeah. Like that's not the same.
Yeah.
This is not the same.
This is what.
Why did we do this?
I thought to myself, I wonder if this is what they did. They were like, the conversations going around about consoles. We should maybe leak something about our new console. Yeah. And I'm like, if that is the case, boy, you are so lost, and there's just no help.
But they're at least they're consistent. Like the PS5. One of the things about it, and one of the big concerns we had about it, by the way, was that there was a lot of experimental stuff in there. The SSD was experimental, all the sound engineering was experimental, the DS5 was experimental, experimental being like, no one's ever done anything like this. What's the reliability going to be like on the DualSense? Will the SSD work really well? What about it's not as powerful, with these metrics that turned out not to be good ways to measure things? And the Xbox just released the next one. And that sort of feels like they're still doing it. It's just the next one. And they're not trying anything new. And even in the Pro version, it feels like they're trying some new stuff.
Yeah. They're going a little bit harder.
They're going a little bit harder. They're trying to make it in case what if Microsoft releases maybe the Xbox 6.
Yeah.
Whatever they're going to call that. I'd love for them to go just balls to the wall. The thing is insane. Looks ridiculous. Has the most insane architecture. I would rather buy that thing and it breaks within a year. But it was it really worked. And there was really some games, some crazy shit with Elder Scrolls.
Yeah.
And Fable, as an example. Let's delay them. They only work on this thing. It's insane what it does. And the thing breaks in a year. It's incredibly unreliable. Yeah. I would have mad respect for that. It would suck that I'd spent 500 quid on a thing that broke. But I'd be like, man, they are trying it. This was insane. What an experience that was. That I'd feel way better about that. Yeah. Way better about. This is such a nothing. 2 generations of nothing. Yeah. It's tough. And I'm not saying that's a good idea. Make your stuff work. Don't release something unreliable. But I would prefer that. I'd prefer to be back to the 360 where it has the Red Ring of Death and I have to wrap it up. At least there's some personality to that.
Yeah.
And have some games that are insane. Have some properly Marmite games where 90% of people hated it, but that 10% won't shut the fuck up about. They should be the next generation of vegans who go out there. Bro, have you played Marmite game? No, I don't want to talk about. Yeah, innit?
God.
Yeah, there should be kids getting in fights at school because that kid won't shut up about it. That's what should be happening. And that kid comes home with bloody nose and black eyes, and the next day goes in and tells people, play this game. That's what I want. That's
Did
what I want.
Did you play Halo Finite? I tried to do a U. Here.
That's it.
It's not infinite, but it's finite.
That's what I want, and that could turn things around, but they won't do it. They don't have the courage. They got the money.
The issue is that they've lost the chance to have courage.
Yeah.
When they were in the part where things were looking rocky, that's when they should have had courage, pull themselves up by their bootstraps and do something. Now, the safe option isn't even safe for them anymore because this is
they're going to starve to death.
Because that's what this is safe. This is a safe option right here, but still nobody cares because they're in the point where they've got nothing for people to care.
Yeah.
And they're too scared to ever invest a bunch of money, like we're saying, 1% of that of the company by 1%. They're scared to invest 1%.
Yeah.
They're scared to invest 1% in something so they can give people a reason to care. That even the safe option is now no longer on the table.
Yeah, it's
and then people wonder, it's why are you so doom and gloom about Xbox? It's because they have put themselves in the doom and gloom situation. It's not something we want. It's not something we have any sort of investment in. I'm not going to wake up tomorrow and be suddenly rich that Xbox has lost the console war and is no longer in the gaming division. I gain nothing from it.
We lose because there's less competition.
Exactly.
I just that just do. They have one chance to stay alive as Xbox. It's the next console, like the next generation, and they need to be insane. It needs to be insane. They need to be, you know, when you show like your grandma videos of people doing like insane skateboarding tricks and then breaking their leg, and then 6 months later that same guy's back, or like 2 weeks later he's back trying it again with the cast on. They need to be that guy. We're like, why would you ever do this? Well, because I'm addicted. I need to make the most insane looking, the most stupidly high performing console within this price range for this ridiculous game that should never have been made, because there's no reason to ever make something that does this.
Yeah.
And then I can talk about you with some respect.
Yeah.
You know, which again, the flops, like the cyberpunk of the world, the cyberpunks of the world, they fixed it. And not only did they fix it, it's now so good that I would buy Cyberpunk 2. And I don't trust CDPR the way I did after The Witcher.
But I'll be there.
I got some respect for them back, and I want to see what that next game looks like. And not just like, The Witcher, but I would play Cyberpunk 2. I will buy that. They've
done enough repair to their image that now it's not really polite. It's not really decent to speak about the fuck up that it was at the beginning.
Agreed.
We talk about it because it was a point in history.
Yeah. And also that was one of the worst mistakes, and they clearly solved the problem.
Exactly.
And that
they learned from it.
In fact, that's one of the reasons we mention it. Like, it was such a big mistake that they made, and it's so impressive how well they repaired that damage. That's really impressive.
They took that on the chin. They just went, nope, we're taking it.
We did this wrong. We're going to fix it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, we do have some more stories about
Xbox,
great, which make it even worse. But
I don't want to rag on them. I want to say nice things.
But before we do that, let's thank some of our bros who support us over at patreon.com/Conbrosations. Our true gamers who support us at the $5 tier, who get this podcast early before everyone else the day it's recorded, and who get to be called the true gamers of the community, because they are. That's what they are right there.
True.
Those great people are true gamers. Sheps is Krusty Rightnut, Gams Master, Gerald Tucker, Mikey T, Fishy, Cobra SS, Dagenham Dan, Adam Sunling, Max H, and Super Whale Ben. Thank you guys so much for keeping the lights and mics on the gaming going here at Conbrosations.
You remember
Thank
that
you so
leaked PS5 design?
Oh yeah. Like the dev kit.
Make that.
That could have been done, and people would have.
I kind of dig it, but that's not the point. The point is like. Make something that stands out.
What it signifies when you make a console that looks like that PS5 dev kit, if you guys remember the horseshoe looking thing, is it made it seem like, it means business.
Yeah.
It means business. All right. And that's kind of what you get from the PlayStation 5. Maybe not to the extent of the dev kit was, but when you see the Xbox console and it's just...
Yeah, it looks phoned in.
You don't really look like you mean business.
It looks like it was made to maximize efficiency in the design feature. Whereas if it comes out and it looks like a spaceship, right? Like, make it insane, make it incredibly inefficient in terms of its design.
Do you remember the Xbox prototype, the one that was in the shape of an X?
Yes!
That is fucking cool.
Yeah.
It sacrifices, like you said, design efficiency to cooling and stuff like that for just an awesome fucking look. Yes, my man.
Yeah.
Yes.
Make that.
That looks fucking cool.
I'd buy that.
I'd buy that just for the sake of buying it.
I'd buy that.
I was about to buy the Xbox mini fridge because it was a fridge in the shape of an Xbox. So I'd buy that console.
What you do is the next gen, you make that console, you make it monstrous in the way that the PS5 was for this generation, and you make some games that go hard unapologetically, right? You make insane stuff. You make like Cancer Simulator where you're cancer and you have to kill a kid, right? You do something insane. You do something insane and get people talking. You just let that game go out there.
I play that game on stream.
All right. There was a game called, was it Plague.io? Where you have to, and ironically that came out a couple of years before Corona. So like, you make some just insane stuff. Do you know what I mean? Like, make it good. Make a Halo that is just unapologetically all the best bits of stuff. Make something completely new. Make rip off call it rip off, and just have it just be the most legally distinct but different of all of your best things, or all of PlayStation's best things, and just crap on it. Just make a hate piece. Do you know what I mean? Like you have literally a mini golf simulator where all you can do is like ridiculous bodybuilder muscle mummies, and you're playing with like shrunken heads, but they're all the characters of the game. Like,
do you know what
something
would be
insane.
funny?
Have your development team do magic mushrooms, come up with all the most ridiculous stuff, then have your legal team make it so you won't get sued, and go for it. And I buy that console. And I play rip off the game. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what I just thought of really weirdly there? You know how Scream has a spoof satire version of it called Scary Movie?
Yeah.
What I would like somebody to make a video game Scary Movie. Not Scary Movie like the IP, but like just making jokes of all the games, things like you were just mentioning. Like they make a God of War and they make jokes about all the funny things that are in it. It's like, yes, we get it. You have dad issues. Yeah, we get it. Like those kind of jokes like that. Right. And then move on to the next franchise and they do the same thing with The Last of Us. Right. Do the same thing with, I don't know, whatever next game, Gears of War, whatever it might be.
100%.
That would be so funny.
They should go hard and make it insane. Make it, what was that game that, Sunshine Overdrive? Was that it?
Sunset Overdrive.
Sunset Overdrive. Yeah. Words. Make it insane. Make it legally distinct, where everybody's talking shit, whether they like it or not. If you hate the game, you're talking shit. If you like the game, you're talking shit. Make it play on that thing.
Yeah.
I'll buy it.
There needs to be a company that makes jokes. The jokes that people make on the internet.
Yeah.
It's like when the Suicide Squad killed the Justice League, got caught a lot of flack for like killing off Batman and stuff like spoilers. Killing off Batman and stuff like that.
I thought it was The Flash, but anyway.
All of them.
Both.
All of them.
Oh, cool. Cool.
They actually succeed. Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
And then someone makes a joke and they're like, you're going to do something as dumb as kill Batman or something like that. I'd love a game that just makes jokes of games in the gaming industry.
Including their own games.
Yeah.
You know, like take something. There should be a comment, well, it was an early build. Like there should be comments like that.
Phil Spencer on some sort of stage somewhere be like, look, this is the next generation. No one cares.
Yeah.
Get off the stage.
Yeah. Like
when we all play, we all win. I'm not playing. Do I win? No, you win as well. Don't worry.
Don't worry about it. Like
messages are
somebody kill that guy. like make that game unhinged.
Yeah.
Make the hardware ridiculous. Make it something experimental.
Yeah. At this point, you've got nothing to lose as well. Xbox is no longer the brand that people remember. The people that the Xbox, the fanatics are yelling about all the time.
Yeah.
It's no longer that brand. So really, you've got nothing to lose. No. Go hard.
I buy that. Well, we just described that. I buy that. I would buy that.
Exactly.
I would buy that.
And it's better than what you're doing right now.
Yeah. And like, you know, we were saying we miss the days where there was like personality. I want like Xbox. You know how Monster sponsors like, and Red Bull sponsor the most ridiculous, insane, like, airplane races and stuff like that.
Yeah.
That's what Xbox should be.
Yeah.
And you could do it next generation. You just be like, you know what, we're insane now. We all did acid and we've all decided this is our personality. Like we do this. We do crazy shit.
Let me move on to our next topic, which is still on the Xbox bashing train, and it further cements how like bad things are for Xbox. So do you remember when we were saying that Game Pass in the long run is going to be detrimental for gaming
since it came out,
and it's going to be bad for developers and stuff like that? Well, developers are quote saying the gold rush is over.
Yeah.
Because what they were doing, what Xbox was doing before was they were saying, hey, if you've got an indie game or something like that, bring it over to Game Pass. We'll pay you the $2 million, whatever it's going to be. You get your funding back and then you get to go work on your next game. And that's great. Yeah. And they were doing that so they could boost Game Pass, so they can get as many people over in Game Pass as they can.
Yeah.
However, that didn't work.
Correct.
So the gold rush has stopped. Third-party publishers have been speaking to games journalists and people in the industry and saying they are second-guessing their continued support of Xbox consoles moving forward. According to a new report from the head of GamesIndustry.biz, Chris String, the predominant feelings around last week's Game Developer Conference (GDC) was that the status of Microsoft and Xbox. Now people are starting to speak more openly about it, which should be that like this was happening in the background. The fact that they're speaking more openly about it now should really alarm bells should be ringing right now. This is the quote. This is what Carl Dring said about people that were talking there. The other thing I heard it from a very prominent company and one not so prominent, was Xbox's performance in Europe is just flatlining, he said in a GI microcast. He continued to say, you can follow our monthly coverage in the games market and you can see that Xbox sales are falling. And it's been falling all throughout the year. It's falling even harder this year. The phrase one major company who released a big game last year was, I don't know why we bothered supporting it. For a third-party company to say that about your platform, that's a completely impartial person right there. That's someone that's not working for PlayStation, not working for Nintendo, not working for some government conspiracy cover-up type thing. It's just someone
not looking for clicks on some mid-tier gaming YouTube podcast. Yeah.
This person is just, I want to sell my game. This is a platform I want to put it on. By the way, why the hell did I bother doing it?
Can we please rename this Xbox is Back in full caps? And it's just 2 hours of us crapping on it.
Just to lure them in and be like, sorry guys, it's not the way it is, not the way it is.
Yeah, it should be Xbox is Back, us going with Xboxes, and then a picture of like you and me burying a PlayStation.
There you go. Ultimate clickbait right there. The switcheroo. He says, lastly, it was mentioned that the third-party publisher's view on the market right now is PC and PS5. That's just how they see the market. They don't even see Xbox in there.
Yeah.
One thing to note is that the report specifically mentions European sales. It's unknown, however, if publishers reference the European sales.
I mean, I don't expect Asia is lapping up Xboxes.
Yeah, the only thing I think they're really trying to point out here is that this doesn't specifically mention America.
Yeah.
And North America is one of the biggest markets out there. So is it as bad over there? I'm presuming it's not as bad, but I think it's bad.
Yeah,
I think it's like because that's their primary market, isn't it? So
and it's home
probably
turf,
a tiny bit better.
But equally, the issue is less brand. Like for example, similar idea: Japan makes cars, and they make good, reliable cars, and those cars sell really well in America. And American cars less so well in Japan because Americans don't make cars as reliable and good as the Japanese, and so there's less of a market for it. Similarly, the issue with the Xbox is not how affordable it is.
Yeah.
It's even if the Xbox was the cheapest thing on the console, even if it was cheaper than the Switch, I'd buy the Switch because there's stuff to play on it. You know?
Yeah.
There's just not a lot to play on it. And that's the issue. So I think you're right. The North America sales can't be insanely different.
And what you said there sort of makes this seem even worse. That the big issue, like we've hit on many times, is that there's nothing really to play on Xbox.
Yeah.
And I think that's drawing us in anyway. And now more developers are saying that they're reconsidering whether or not they should pursue Xbox as a platform in the future. It might be worth them just not doing it altogether, which is further compounding the issue that they're having.
Yeah.
They're in a really bad spot right now.
It's not looking good, but it's all of their own decision making.
I was going to say entirely their own thing.
Yeah.
They've shot themselves in the foot and then
Constantly.
gone, God, why is my foot bleeding?
Yeah. Capitalism.
God damn it. Feels right.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, I mean, you guys just heard us talking about like a version of Xbox that we would want to buy. And because we're gamers, I don't really care what the brand of it is. And realistically, like I will budget and have both.
Yeah.
Right? I want an Xbox, but everything they do is crap. And like you said, they went for a safe option. The thing is, I don't even think they went safe. I think initially they went easy. So like this generation, it was easy to just do the next one. Just build the Xbox One again, but with today's, whatever you could get today at the similar price point, and make that. And then also we'll do a cheaper one so we can get even more people. But there's nothing to
I think they don't have the power to draw people in because they don't have anything to offer. Let me read one more report. This one is from PCGamer.com. It's the part that we're at about the gold rush being over. Slay the Spire and Darkest Dungeon devs saying that the big Game Pass and Epic exclusive deals have dried up for indie devs.
Yeah.
In an interview last week at GDC in San Francisco, the developers behind the indie sensation Slay the Spire and Darkest Dungeon said that the deal some small developers have come to rely on for funding in recent years, like Epic Game Store exclusives and Xbox Game Pass, are no longer what they once were. Quote, I talked to at least 5 small teams, like 35 members, and under so the small teams are 35 members and under during GDC, and they were like cuts, funding cancelled, talks are going on for a year, cancelled, said Casey Yano, the co-founder of Slay of the Spire and Megacrit. It sounds like shit. We're definitely very privileged to be able to self-fund. Otherwise, I'd be very, 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 very scared right now. And I'm sure a lot of people can't self-fund, so they are scared. Slay the Spire launched with slow sales in Steam Early Access, eventually becoming a deck-building juggernaut. Going from there. Chris Berger, yeah, so... Oh, there was a further part here. No, that's okay. That's part of a separate thing. But that's the big thing that we was worried about.
Yeah.
People were trying to combat us, saying like, well, why is it so many of these devs are going to Game Pass then if it's so bad and bad for the industry? So bloody obvious, and we said it at the time.
Yeah.
They're clearly trying to push their own Game Pass to make it a thing, so they're taking money out of their pocket and paying for this stuff.
Yeah, they get paid up front.
And that can't happen forever.
Yeah, the development of that game is functionally free for that studio, and they get to fund the next game. But
if you're the studio, you're not going to say no as well.
Oh, free money? Nah, that's okay.
Not me.
Free money, more players that we can use.
I'm going to make my devs go hungry.
You go from, let's say, as an example, downloaded 5 million times to downloaded 12 million times, as an example. Yeah. You think that doesn't mean you get more funding the next time? When you go for funding somewhere, you say, hey, our last game got 12 million downloads.
Or even if it was like, I'm sure they would still take the deal, because obviously you have to make the deal before you even get to the point, right? So if it was like, oh, we were going to be projecting 1 million sales, and they were like, that's cool, and then they put it on Game Pass, but there's not much like buzz about it and whatnot. We only get 500 million.
Yeah,
but they're probably not how it happens, because when it's free, you get more people on it. But let's say they got less. Still, they're going to go for the money because they funded their project completely.
It's free money.
And they're already starting on the next one. They're putting food in the mouths of their devs. Why wouldn't they want that?
This isn't our just like opinion. Every time we go to EGX, we've gone to EGX for like 4 years in a row. Well, 4 years, I would say, recently. The most recent 4. I always speak to the indie devs, and I always ask their opinion on Game Pass. If they're going on Game Pass, why not, etc. And I ask it in an unbiased way. And I think some of you boys have been there when I've done this. I'm not fishing for my opinion. I want to see, does this benefit devs? Mainly because if there is a game that's on Game Pass and it really benefits the dev and we think the game's incredible, like some of you on Game Pass will tell you to get it, right? Like you can support them. No one's been like, oh my God, Game Pass.
Yep.
I'll say, what's the best way for, like, we have this small community, what's the best way that we should tell people to support you? And they're all like, yeah, if they could buy it on Steam, that would be good. Cool. Like,
because the money has already been got from there, so they're like, that's it.
Right. And then, guys that we haven't spoken to, the dude that made Abe's Odyssey, Oddworld,
yeah,
who came out and was like really heartbroken that the game didn't do so well, and also he'd made no money from it, because he didn't understand the model he was getting involved in. And I think that was actually Sony, but the point is it went free, and that's not
PlayStation Plus.
That's not how the game works. You know, it's not how the game you're playing works.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, so I can't believe that they said, I don't know why we bothered supporting it, though. That's pretty savage.
That's a pretty harsh one.
That's pretty savage.
And for us, this is a conversation.
Yeah.
For Xbox, that should be bone chilling. That should be the moment that they go, shit.
Yeah.
If we don't wake up now, we're done for.
Yeah, there should be discussion.
And that's completely outside of us.
Yeah.
That's completely outside of all the nonsense you see online. Because if you're going to be too proud and you're not going to listen to it because of all the console wars and all the shit like that, then you're the one that's going to suffer.
Yeah.
No one else will suffer.
That comment should have been, well, I mean, it's Xbox. We can't afford not to have that. Right?
Right?
That's what that comment should be. And that's what it would have been if it was PlayStation. They wouldn't go, well, why did you bother supporting it? They'd say, well, because it's PlayStation. We can't afford not to have PlayStation.
Exactly.
Right? Like, that needs to be how people talk about the Xbox. And even if it's small, like, small and passionate is as good as huge.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's fine.
Yeah.
But they're small and not only not passionate, specifically looking for free handouts.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Sorry, I hit my mic there. Yeah, that's the other Xbox news right there. Pretty upsetting stuff right there. I hope to God that they do something, although I just don't know what they can do at this point. Even all of our ideas that we have nice conversation about stuff, I can't see any of them realistically working at this point.
No.
The only thing they can do, and we've said this before, is that they go third party, they just surrender themselves to making video games, and then eventually, if they dedicate themselves to making games, then eventually they'll get themselves back, because if they start making 3 back-to-back good games, that's it. People will forget the fact that it's Xbox. People forget
That's what happened with Cyberpunk.
Exactly. They'll just be like, oh, they make good games and I want to play a good game. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm buying it.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed.
But the console thing, unfortunately for them, is dead. They need to move on from console making. They just need to make that.
Yeah.
Okay. Our next topic. Marvel 1943, Rise of Hydra.
Called it.
You said it all the way from WandaVision episode 1.
Did.
It was Hydra this entire time.
I love how I had to double down on that.
I'm gonna double down. I'm gonna say it's Mephisto. It's Mephisto, guys. Don't worry. Don't worry about this Hydra nonsense here. Mephisto is the one that's doing it all.
I'm watching this thing as we speak.
So this trailer got released at GDC.
Yeah.
This is the game that Amy Hennig is working on. She's working on with Skydance New Media Studios. And it looks fucking fantastic. It's being made on Unreal Engine 5. That's why it looks so goddamn awesome. Let me know when you get to the bit where Cap is talking to Black Panther on the bridge. It's towards the end. It's like 1 minute 40 or something like that.
Yeah. Well, that's also asking for a little bit of trouble, given that, it's 1940s.
Yeah.
I send those memes.
Skate past the obvious thing.
I love sending those memes. So Tyler is a big Captain America fan, just like me. And one of the memes I send him constantly whenever they pop up. Okay, he's on the bridge now. 1 second.
Just look at the visuals and how it looks.
That looks really good.
So the cut that they actually showed at GDC showed the mask off of the Black Panther.
Right.
And I can't remember who the actor is, but it's a very good actor. And
I obviously can't hear the voice. So,
the voice is also spot on as well. The detail on each of the characters' face and how they move, the motion capture is unbelievable and gorgeous. This game is going to look fantastic. I hope the story is good. Amy Hennig has done good work before. I'm hoping that it's going to be great. I can't wait to play this game. I can't wait.
It looks good. As I was saying, the meme I love to send to Tyler is it will be like, the scene of Cap in the lift where you say a thing and then he gets attacked by the guys.
Yeah.
Or he's looking angry. It'll be like he's in the lift and one of the guys in the lift is black, and it'll be like Cap noticing who's in the lift with him at the same time, right? Or it'll be like Cap and he breaks apart the wood when a woman speaks to him without being asked a question, stuff like that, because there's no voice. It's the funniest stuff. I'm a huge Cap fan. I'm just like, right, Tyler, here you go.
I've seen some videos like that where like guy gets woken up from the ice, and it's like an Asian guy, a doctor.
Yeah.
It's like Captain America is like, who the hell are you talking to? Get back over there, boy.
Yeah.
Some woman comes up to him to like, I don't know, she's like in a general's outfit or something like that. Why don't you go fix us up a coffee, doll?
Yeah.
It's like, whoa! Cap,
Yeah.
it's not 19 so-and-so anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like, what does that mean to me? That doesn't mean anything to me. Just, this is the way we used to live back then.
Right.
I was like, so funny.
Yeah, it cracks me up.
Anyway, this is going to be a very cool game. I can't wait to
hope so.
play this. And it's interesting as well because it'll be interesting to have success outside of PlayStation Studios for Marvel games. Because right now it pretty much is like, if you want success, Marvel, go to PlayStation, and PlayStation will do you right.
But Marvel don't care in that if they release this thing and just doesn't get that much adoption and player base, they're going to do that same thing. I don't know why we bothered supporting it for Xbox. But they will be like, they are cutthroat.
I get the feeling, I get the feeling they're going to be, I mean, it only benefits PlayStation, which I want more people to be able to make games other than PlayStation.
Absolutely.
So I wish them all the best, and I wish Amy Hennig the best as well, because she got done dirty a little bit a couple of times, so I wanted to have a success story. It's like my feelings for Henry Cavill. I'm like, the guy's been done fucking dirty. I need him to have a win, and I don't mean just in the fact that he's a millionaire.
That does help.
Do you know, it's funny. Sometimes I say like, oh, you see, look at Henry. He's been treated like shit. And I'm like, the guy's a millionaire with a gorgeous wife and beautiful dogs and gets to do whatever he wants wherever he goes.
Yeah.
Let's chill out. Let's chill out.
Yeah. He'll survive. He'll be okay. Equally, as a fan, I look at what was taken away from us.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Isn't it?
We were robbed.
We were robbed.
Let me see anything else in here. No, that is everything. So, there is one little thing. Apparently, Larian Studio says that they're officially done with the Baldur's Gate series. They're not going to make any more installments in it, which I kind of respect.
Yeah.
Go out on the highest note you guys can, right?
That's how we thought The Last of Us should be handled.
Yes.
It's just like, you nailed it. Don't touch it again. You know, can you capture lightning in a bottle for a second time? Probably not, you know? So I think, first of all, for anybody that's wondering, that doesn't mean they're not going to stop supporting Baldur's Gate 3. It just means they're not going to make another Baldur's Gate. I don't know what's next for them. But Larian's a perfect example. Larian, Cyberpunk, back when they made, not Cyberpunk, CDPR, when they made The Witcher 3. Yeah, like, these games, that's how you make a game. You throw everything you got at it with full passion. You don't release a broken product. And then when it comes out, people love it. Yeah. And ironically, The Witcher was a bit broken. Like, there's still memes. I still see memes of Roach on roofs and stuff, you know, or twerking. But, like, then they made the DLC and they discuss it, you know.
Recently, you know, Insert Coin, the company that makes clothing, like gaming clothing.
Yeah, I'm aware of them, yeah.
They recently did a Witcher inspired a line, and there was like Witcher t-shirt, Witcher jacket. They made a t-shirt similar like this, and it's Roach on top of a roof.
Sick.
And I was like, that's just how iconic it is.
Right.
Like,
and that's the thing as well. It's like, a game can be broken in fun ways, like The Witcher 3 was. Like, that is just ridiculous. But it's one of our gaming memories. It's like a meme in the community. Redfall was not that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So let's also, you know what? If you're going to bring out Redfall and you know that things don't go downstairs, lean into it, have it turn upside down, go down the stairs on its head, and then just immediately flip up.
Flip over.
Yeah, and just be like, that's the way it happens. At least it'd be funny.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Anyway, bro.
Yeah.
That's all we have time for today in regards to the True Gamer podcast. Next, we're going to kick it over to our Conbrosations podcast, where we get extra spicy, because I know you love that word. If you guys are interested in hearing some fun times, some good jokes, you can head over to a Conbrosations After Dark channel. That's where we have a more relaxed conversation about life and all kinds of nonsense that happens in the world.
Yeah.
And you can have some fun over there. Thank you, bro, for joining me. Thank you guys for joining me. And I'll catch you guys all in the next one.
Why do you always do the slow-mo? I feel like you get bullet time and I just get...
Listen, I'm like Zack Snyder. I just
get
overuse slow-mo and everything.
And lens flare.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know what you should do? Is just because you haven't done like hardcore editing in a while, is that last scene, you should edit that hardcore.
The fuck out of it.
Yeah, edit the absolute shit. I've spent 3 hours editing the absolute shit out of it.
I do a time-lapse and it's just insanity going on.
Yeah. Just for like 3 seconds of a mid... like a fist bump with a slow-mo, there's lens flare,
and in the end all I do is just put the Helldivers theme song over it.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
By the way, there was a guy on YouTube who put that over like a bunch of things in movies.
Yeah.
And it just goes with everything. One of them they put it in was with a Pacific Rim.
Yeah.
So when they like drop the Jaeger into the water, I was like,
I can see that.
No.
I can see that.
That's great. All right. Catch you next one, boys.